Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of my baggage droppers around the world, welcome to another episode of the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope, and show you a technique that can help you cope. I am your host, the self-talk engineer, Charles Woolfork, and if you are listening here right now on Facebook or YouTube or any podcast platform, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. And if you're on the podcast platform especially, give a brother 5 stars and some feedback as well. Now, I have been really looking forward to having this brother right here on the podcast. This is going to be a great one because we have Joevan Palmer right here in in his building. Now, Joevan is from New York City, but now he lives in Atlanta. At 29, he sat in on a therapy session, and it shifted his consciousness to seek therapy himself, and it has shifted him to take action. It inspired him to take action, and he got his master's in social work. Now, he's a social worker for 5 years now with aspirations of becoming a licensed therapist. He got over the fear of sharing his story about sexual assault, and now he's coaching people to overcome sexual trauma, releasing stress, and for also having better relationships. And let's not forget that he is the host of the Living Blessed podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Joevan Palmer. What's up, Joevan?
What's up, Charles? How you feeling today, brother?
I am feeling so blessed, man. Goodness gracious, dog. Hey, congratulations to you and all of your success, man.
Thank you so much.
So, bro, everybody has their origin stories, whether it's, Peter Parker getting bit by the spider, or, whether it's Gary Vee selling lemonade at the lemonade stands. What's your origin story to how you got from where you were to where you are today?
Man, well, it's a long journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journey worth taking, I would say. Like I said, you did great at the introduction. 29 years old was my first time seeking therapy, but the reason behind that was at 12 years old, I was molested, and it changed my life for, I want to say the good, but for the bad and the good.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time of being molested, it probably went off about a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me from living a life of just trying to find myself, to live my life, to trying to really find myself. And, at 12 years old, you're kind of going into your preteen, you're trying to go into your teenage years, and you're trying to find yourself as a young man.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened with me was I had to do double the work in finding myself. I had to find myself all over again. I pretty much shut down, and I felt like I died inside. I felt like life was over for me. I felt so shameful. I felt guilty. I felt like, why did this have to happen to me? Why me? My cry at night to God was, why me, God? Why me? I just, for the life of me, just couldn't understand why that it had to happen to me. And it took me through a lot of emotions. It took me through a lot of thought. It took me through a lot of ups and downs and blaming others and blaming of myself, and just so much that at 12 years old, you don't know, you're trying to figure out why you're dealing with all of this depression.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stuff I don't know what depression was at 12 years old. I just know that I was sad at times. I just knew that I was angry at times. I just knew that I just didn't love myself. When I look back on my life over those years, those are the things that I can pinpoint, that I was depressed, I was sad, I didn't understand who I was, I didn't know what I was. And I've had so many thoughts of my sexuality in question. Am I gay? Am I heterosexual, homosexual? What am I?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a journey of doing that from 12, 13, 14, all the way up until the age of 29 years old, where I finally sought out therapy, and I finally kind of just got my life together and just figured out who I was and got to the core and the root cause of my trauma, the cause of my pain.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important part was the understanding of me and the loving of me. Just that self-love portion of what kicked in. And excuse me, nowadays you can't tell me any different as far as when it comes to loving myself.
Yeah. Were you able to tell anybody at in your teenage years, or were you able to talk about it at all in any way, shape, or form?
It wasn't talked about until maybe I was 19, probably about 20 years old. It was the first time I ever opened my mouth about what happened to me as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I was carrying that baggage from the age of 12 years old to the age of 19, 20 years old. And the first person I told was an ex-girlfriend in college. I don't know how we got on the topic of it, but we got on that topic, and I told her about it. I don't know what led me to tell her, but I told her, and then she was just, felt very remorseful, and she was sad and by what happened to me. She kind of understood me on a deeper level, because on my arm, my first tattoo was only God understands, because I thought that was the only person on this earth that could understand what I'm going through, why I went through what I went through. And she understood, why sometimes I was very closed off, or why times I didn't want to do certain things, or why I felt the type of way when she touched me a certain way. And she encouraged me, but also gave, it was like an ultimatum in a sense. Like she's like, no, I don't know if we can be together if you don't share this with your parents, because I believe they need to know what happened to you as a child. So this is over right before Christmas break. So I'm at home, and at the time living in Atlanta still. And I tell my parents exactly what happened, and I felt them shut down. And when I felt them shut down, I also shut down, because it's like, oh, why did I shouldn't have told them. I should have kept it to myself, because right now I just feel like I just kind of like put a big burden on them right now. And it's like, okay, well, what do I do next? What's the next? And there really wasn't a big next with me. There was just, I told them that was it. My dad talked to me. He let me know how much he loved me. My mom talked to me. He let her know how much he loved me. But that was it. There wasn't any like, how are you dealing with it? There wasn't any like, let's get you some help, or do you need any help, or anything like that. So from the age of 20 to 29, another 9-year span for me, I'm still carrying this burden, because it's still inside of me. No one's really helping me get to the core of what happened, or helping me understand what happened, or helping me understand why these things happen, and what you do when these things happen, and how to control your emotions, and how to control your sexual energy, or how do you really go take all of this that's been bottled up inside for so long, and take that energy for a good use. And like you mentioned earlier in the intro, the bio is just, it wasn't until I sat in, I don't know if it was destiny calling me saying, hey, Joevan, at 29, going into 30 years old, this is where your life is going to do a total 180. And I sat in on that therapy session with one of the kids I was working with at the time, and hearing them just be able to express their issues, and with them being in foster care and living in group homes, and, some of them experiencing some of the same things that I personally experienced. It was just like, it had to be a God ordained thing, because as I read some of the charts of files for the kids that I've been through, I'm like, yo, these kids experience the same exact things that I experienced at the same exact age that I experienced that. And I'm mind blown. And then the therapist is talking to them, and she's helping them through these situations, and helping them process, their feelings, their sexuality, helping them process, everything that they felt that they've experienced that they couldn't get out. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is mind blowing. I love this stuff. Can I get a little piece of this action? And I don't know what it was, because at the time I was a very timid person, didn't like asking too many people for things. It's just, I'm a type of guy that I just figure it out myself. But there's these functions that happen inside of me, where it just words the thing that's right for me, that I know I desperately need, or not desperately, but the thing that I know I need. The courage comes out of me to act, and it just works out so beautiful for me. And I asked her I said, can I have one of these sessions? She was like, sure. And from there, my first session, I was really timid. I was really scared. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to judge me. She's going to rip me open a new part. I'm probably going to be in a fetal position crying. I don't know what she's going to I don't know what she's going to pull out. So the first session, we're sitting down, and she goes, well, tell me, what's going on. Because we already had a relationship in a sense, because of me working with her with the children that she worked with. And I told her exactly what was going on, everything that happened to me from the age of 12, of being molested, the questioning of my sexuality, to me actually exploring my sexuality, living a homosexual lifestyle for the moment. And just all of that brought upon me just so much guilt, shame, defeat, lack of purpose, and lack of understanding of who I was as a man. And it was a simple word that she said to me. A few simple words that she said to me was, when I finished, she was like, well, is that it? And I'm like, yeah, that's it. She was like, man, you ain't the only person who's experienced that, right? And I'm like, well, to me, it seems like, because I haven't heard anybody really talk about this.
Right.
I haven't heard a lot of men talk about, being molested, and living, questioning their sexuality, and they're actually going to explore their sexuality and everything like that. Nothing I've never personally heard of. And truth be told, to this day, I still don't hear too much about it.
Right.
And it's like trying to really help me process that. And when I got through, it was just like a burden lifted off my shoulder. But there was still a burden lifted. There was still a burden there, a piece of that burden, or that rock, whatever you want to call it, still there, because I felt like I still needed to not explain myself, but share this with some people. So my homework, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I got, who can I tell? Then as I'm thinking of that, she gives me homework. She said, homework is for you to tell 5 people that's closest to you what you just explained to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. How do I explain this to my friends, who know about me, or who know what they know of me? And I just so happened to be in a group chat with a few of my closest friends at the moment. And I was like, oh, this seems like the perfect opportunity. So grab my phone, I text my friends, hey, XYZ, this is what I've been through. I'm in therapy right now, and my homework assignment is to share something with you all. What I'm about to share with you all is very deep and personal, and I hope that you all receive this well, and I hope that you all can keep this in confidentiality. And I tell them the same as it's pretty much, I took all of what I just told you and explained to you and the guest out here and put it into maybe like a small paragraph to my friends. And I'm sitting there just looking like this and just shaking my head, my hands in my head, and then just tap my finger like, oh God, what's going to come next? Am I going to lose some friends? Is this the end of our friendship? What's going on? And the response was just so beautiful. They said, oh man, I love you so much, Joe. My nickname is Jovi. So all my friends in college, I'm by Jovi. And they say, oh, I love you so much, Jovi. I'm so glad that you're in therapy. I'm so glad you're getting help that you needed. I kind of suspected it, but I'm glad that you were able to tell us without us having to ask you about it, question you about it.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad that you're okay. And whatever you decide to do with your life, we still love you.
Yeah.
And I felt like I've never felt so much love in like that before in my life.
Yeah.
I felt like, this is what love feels like this is what genuine love feels like.
Yeah.
This is what friendship that people talk about. This is what that agape love that I've been hearing about. This is what it feels like. And my friends, like, I would never in my life lose these people at all. They know because they were there for me in a moment in my life where I really needed somebody to be there for me to help understand. And then I had to go, I had to face another challenge and tell my best friend because typically I tell her everything first. Because she's like the first person to know everything, And my 30th birthday was coming up, and I was like, what am I gonna do for my birthday? I don't know. And I was talking about, she's like, talking to my best friend, and she said, oh, you should go to Vegas. I said, why not? So I went to Vegas. I think it was my first time in Vegas, matter of fact. And we're sitting down. I said, we gotta talk. Like, we really need to talk. I got something to tell you. She said, okay, what's up? I said, well, we're gonna need some drinks for this one. So I'm gonna go grab you a glass of wine.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I'm gonna get my go-to a Jack and Coke. And then she's like, oh my gosh, this seems heavy. I said, it's quite heavy. And I explained it to her. She cries, and she doesn't cry because I kept it from her. She cried because of the pain that I had to experience throughout my whole life. And she just doesn't understand. It just helped her understand me as an individual so much better. And since that day, our friendship has grown so much tighter and so much closer. And just fast forwarding, I had to tell my parents, and that felt like another burden that I had to get off my shoulder. And it was just in telling them, I didn't know how to speak it to them.
I thought you already told your parents, though.
I told them about the molestation. I didn't tell them about the homosexual life and my feelings of sometimes blaming them for what happened to me.
Right.
So I'm watching the movie When They See Us, I think it was When They See Us, or How They See Us. And there was a portion in the movie where the mom visits her son in jail, and the mom or the son has a reality that mom is just doing the best that she can. And they cry together. And for some reason, I'm just sitting on the couch boo-hooing at that. Right. I'm like, but it's a silent boo. I don't want nobody to hear me crying. It's like 2:00 in the morning. So I'm just weeping on the table, and there's something that said, Joe, go write your parents a letter. So I write my parents a letter, go upstairs to my computer, I shut everything off, I go upstairs to my computer, I sit and I write this letter out, just typing about from the childbirth, from childhood to current day of everything I experienced, why I felt the way I felt, how I felt about them as parents, and how I felt about myself, and how I felt about my siblings. And it's just, I just poured it all out until I felt it. Yeah. And I wrote it, I put it in the envelope, I slid it under the door. At the time I was living with my parents, I slid under the door, I texted my mom, because it was like, she'd probably see it first, my dad. And I said, hey, I put a letter. No, I left it on my desk. I said, hey, there's a letter on my desk. I would love for you and dad to read it when y'all get a chance, and we can talk about it later. So she got the letter, she read it, she texted me, let me know how much that she loves me, how much she cared about me. And that was pretty much kind of it from there. But it's just trying to really just feel how I should feel, understand how I should feel. And when I got home, it was kind of just left at that. And but yeah, that's my story. So now it's just me helping other individuals kind of get through the same thing that I've gone through. So I share my story with no hesitation. I share my story with boldness and courage, because there's somebody out there who needs to hear this story. There's somebody out there who needs to know that what they've gone through, they're not alone. And I want to help. I really want to help a lot of men who are living a lifestyle that they just kind of maybe confused when living, or a little lifestyle of secrecy that no one really knows about. And even women who live a life of secrecy because they live in this world of shame. They feel shame and guilty for what they're going through. And I'm like, there's help out here. There's so much, there's help out here that who can help you through the situation. I want to be the one to help them.
So I want to go back just a little bit on a couple of spaces. Sure. That talking to your parents the initial time about the molestation, somebody may have to have that conversation out there that they haven't had with their parents yet. Talk about how you were feeling before that conversation, like the nervousness or the anxiety that you felt, and then how you finally jumped over and got over that hump.
Yeah, so super nervous to tell my parents. I didn't know how the conversation was. I didn't know if it was going left, right. I didn't even truth be told, I didn't know if they would believe me if I told them. And that's the reason, one of the reasons why I held it for so long, because I'm like, if I tell them, they're not going to believe me. What's the point of telling anybody? No one's going to believe me.
Right.
So that was the feeling I kept from 12 to 20 years old, was no one's going to believe if I tell them. So when I told them, and when I got the response that I got, I don't really, let me think back to that feeling. It was just an empty feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Like you like say something like that support, that it's kind of like that agape love that you felt from your friends. Like you I guess, I mean, I would expect that from the parents, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you didn't get that must have been like, well shit, like, you know, where is this reaction of some sort?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was just, my dad, he took me in private into his room, and he talked to me, and then that was when the support kicked in.
Yeah.
But that, that's when the support kicked in afterwards. And it was just left at that. He let me know how much he loved me, how much, he understood. He understood the tattoo I first got. When I first got this tattoo, my dad was like furious that I got it. But then he was like, he told me when I turned 18, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And I took that literally.
Yeah.
And I got it, but it was a form of self-expression for me. It's kind of just, maybe this would be a way of me telling, well, if God, what do you like? Maybe they could have asked a question, why do you feel God is so changed? And I feel maybe that would have allowed for me to inch into this conversation of, well, this is what happened to me, and this is why I feel this way.
Right. Yeah. Yo. And like, with you feeling that way, and with you finally able to let it out, there also came that time before you went to the therapist as well. Now, like, I've had multiple people say, multiple people with anxiety say that before they will come to meet me so I can help them get rid of that anxiety, that they were willing to like cancel the whole appointment. Like, I don't want to do this like I don't want to address this stuff, but like, you were ready for it. Like, kind of describe that feeling, because it kind of seemed like you were a little bit nervous about meeting with her as well.
Yeah, so I would say the reason why I'm ready for it is because in every release, there's a blessing that comes behind it.
Yeah.
And I realized every time I release something that I've been holding on to, something greater always comes right behind it. When I first released it, to my ex-girlfriend, something greater came behind it. Was me being able to just tell my parents.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of how I felt after, there was just everything is just leading to this destination that I'm going to. So when I opened my mouth up about, when I went to the therapist and opened up, it was something greater on the other side, which was led to, the business that I formed from that. Then when I tell my friends and I tell individuals who I get involved with about my life, there's always something greater that comes after that. And the greater is somebody hearing my message or hearing my story and saying, wow, man, like, because of you, I'm in therapy. I've gotten messages like that. Yeah, because of you, I'm in therapy. Because of your story, man, I was able to tell about my molestation. Because of, your story, I'm able to, speak a little bit more about what's going on with me. Because of your story, man, I was able to help my boyfriend. I was able to help my girlfriend. Like, my story that I've been sharing as of recently has been helping so many people.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that what I went through, I don't take away from what I went through at all. No. I don't negate it. I don't belittle it or nothing like that, because what happened to me, it was a serious thing.
For sure.
But what I'm understanding as I get older and wiser is that what I've gone through was definitely something that built me into a stronger individual. It built me, my resilience. It built my resistance. It's built me into being a better person, because I found this thing called love, and I found this thing called self-love for myself. And it's such a beautiful thing, and it's such an amazing thing to feel, to where I can like really explore myself and who I am as an individual. And I can look at the core of Joevan and say, yo, your core was jacked up once upon a time. But, once I peeled back the layers and I've replanted myself and I've rebloomed myself as a new human being. It's like, yo, like, you're a handsome guy. You're a lovable guy. You can have everything that you desire. And right now I'm going through another reblooming, I would say, as in just getting to know myself as I'm in this new space, because I'm an entrepreneur now. And it'll be a year coming up in May. And I'm also building this coaching program. And I've been removing the limiting beliefs that I've had about myself and where I can go in life. The opportunities I can have. And it's just there's always going to be a new phase of life where you're going to have to replant yourself. There's always going to be a new phase of life where you're going to have to reposition yourself. And that's what I'm realizing in life, is that I have to reposition myself and replant myself every time. And then as I'm replanting myself, I have to allow for the water to happen. I have to allow for the watering to happen to me.
What does that watering part look like?
So it's taking the feedback from others, because I've always been so closed off from individuals because of what happens.
Right.
I don't let too many people in. So it's also allowing for people to come in and shower me with what they have, and to pretty much pour into me and say, yo, Joevan, I see sometimes you can be a little timid, or I see sometimes you can be a little unsure of yourself. You know, here's some things that you can do. And I'm I'm receptive to all of that. And that's the watering of what's happening to me now, is how I'm so receptive to what's coming to me. I take constructive criticism very well now versus beforehand. I would be so defensive when somebody gave me constructive criticism. So it's just, you know, there's this new phase of me that I'm exploring now of who I am, and, you know, becoming more bold and becoming more actionable and becoming more, you know, just feeling good about where I am in life.
Congratulations, dog.
Thank you.
When that therapist told you that you weren't the only person that this has happened to, how did that consciousness shift feel?
For a minute, I just didn't believe her. I sat there for a minute and still not believing her, because I'm like, no one's talking about it.
Where they at?
Like who else? Like, you know, has it happened to? And I think what happened was, you know how you say you want something and you start like, you know, you say, oh, I want a new car. Or and then you finally get the car, and you're driving around, and all of a sudden you start seeing the car everywhere. Like you thought you were the only person with that car. So once I started opening up and telling people about what happened, it's like all these different stories of, like, sometimes some celebrities or other individuals. When I told my story, I realized what happened. I realized that I wasn't the only one, because she shared a personal experience about her with me in that moment. You know, she shared her experience of, you know, molestation and sexual abuse and stuff like that. I'm like, oh wow, okay. It's not the only person. I'm not the only one. And there were people in college that, you know, once I started opening up about what happened to me, because I wrote a blog. I used to blog every day after college. Every day I was just blogging, writing how I felt. And it was like a motivational experience that I sent out. A lot of my friends, they subscribed to it. I sent out, it was called God's Working It Out at gmail.com. You can sign up for it. And I would just type every day. It was like, you get off a paragraph, 2 paragraph, whatever I felt spewing out for the day. I typed it, I sent it out, and I wrote about my molestation. And so many friends reached out to me. Oh my gosh, you know, like I experienced that too. It was like I had my own, before the Me Too movement, I had my own Me Too movement going on with people. And at the time, I wasn't experienced to, like, you know, help people with it, because I didn't know. I don't know. I was just saying, hey, I don't know. Right now, just at the time, I wasn't even seeing a therapist. I was just like replying back, I'm so sorry this happened to you. You know, we can get back through this together. We can get through this together. But that was all I had to offer. That was it. And it's just sharing your story is an amazing thing.
Very much so. So, like, how did that feel? That the building that muscle, because at first it was privately with the therapist, and then it came into like the 5-person tech, and then with your friend, and now all of a sudden you're writing blogs about it, bro. Like, you're getting stronger and stronger as the story goes on, bro. Like, now you're in front of, like, now you're on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, you know, telling it to a lot of people around there. Like, so like, how did this progress go?
So it was, for me, it was just, it allowed me to say, yo, just keep telling your story. No matter how much you shake, no matter how much, you know, it's like you lift like a new rep for the first time and you're shaking. And that's how it was for me. I gotta keep getting the reps in until the shaking goes away, and then I can go to the next, you know, set of weights I need to go to. And with every new level, it just came more weight on me, but it also was a release on me, because I finally got to the position of where I built the rep to where I can tell the story. And I tell you, it's shamelessly, in a sense, you know, there's still, like, at times, we'll be honest, there's still times in the back of my head that shame kicks in, like, you shouldn't tell somebody, you shouldn't tell this party, like, you know, especially when it comes to the dating space. You know, it's just like, it's still a little hard for me to tell women not about the molestation part, but about the homosexual part. Because one, I live in Atlanta, and it already has its own stigma.
Its own connotation.
Two, it's like, you know, will they really want to be with you afterwards? And I've realized, since I've been dating, like, you know, when I share this story, that women they are sorrowful for me. And, you know, I explained to them, you know, this life I lived before, but it's not a life that I'm living right now. And I've had successful relationships before in the past where, you know, after that life, and things have just gotten better, to where one young lady out there, she had the most beautiful response to this, to me telling the story, she said, that's your truth. You're living in it.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. And I encourage you to continue on, and it's just like hearing beautiful responses like that. It's just like you can live a life after this, like the life that you want to live after that. So in building that muscle, it's just, just openly sharing these things with people. And like I said, if there's a guy out there who's maybe gone through the same exact thing that I've gone through, and you're scared to tell a significant other, you're scared to go out and date, start building that muscle within your community. Start having these conversations with other individuals, close friends. Like I have a best friend where we role play. Hey, I got this friend I'm really interested in. We got to role play real quick. That's what we were doing in the past, because I just still need to build that muscle up to have the courage to tell them. Now it's like I can do it on my own. It's like, how you ride on a bike, how a kid's riding a bike for the first time, they need mommy and daddy to help them out.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they realize, oh, I got this. I got this. That's my life. It's like I'm realizing, Joevan, you got it. You got it. Don't be worried. You may fall, you may bruise a knee or an elbow or something like that, but hey, you can get it back up and try it again.
That's the beautiful thing, man. Real recognize real and respect it.
Absolutely.
Right? So those real ones that you go out with and like you tell them your story and tell them like how you used to be, and the transition that you had. They like, some people can be inspired by it. Some people can also respect like the transparency that you're showing them. Like that's the thing about any partner that you're trying to get, like, or that you're with, I should say, is that when you're with a partner and you're transparent about who you are, that like think of the trust that you can have from the honesty that a person like that you share with another person. Like, wow, that's inspiring as heck. Like, okay, you trusted me with your secrets, then I think I can go ahead and do the same as well.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. So like now, like how does it feel to have, okay, so you got to, like, so it inspired you so much that you got an education though. So you dedicated your life to like becoming this superhero, not just like just to get the social worker, but now you have the aspirations of becoming a licensed therapist as well. So you're in this for the long haul. We about to be Dr. Palmer. You feel me?
I don't know about that doctor. Let's slow down there. My best friend, she's trying to get me to become a doctor. And I always said, when I was a kid, I'm gonna be a doctor one day. But I don't know if I want to fulfill that dream or not.
But so how does it? So like, were you already in school to become a social worker?
No. So I was my undergraduate degree is in sport management.
Oh, wow.
And the way it's just crazy how life happens, how you get into situations. So when I got into the social work space from being fired from corporate America, so I was on vacation visiting my grandparents and got a call from the guy who recruited me for the job. I was at a temp agency at the time, and he was saying, when he called me, you know how you can just kind of sense like something's not right. Because I'm saying, you called me on vacation like that, so I'm like, something can't be right.
Right.
And I go outside and I have a conversation with him, and he was like, yeah, the company wants to let you go for X reason. And for some reason, I wasn't 100% bothered by it. I just really wasn't 100% bothered by it. I was like, you're on vacation. Don't let it bother me. And I went and told my grandfather about it. He was like, don't worry about it, son. God got something greater for you anyway. And I said, okay. And when he said that, I'm like, all right, I trust you. My grandfather, that's like my guy. Like, my guy. Yeah. So anything he says, he tells me, I'm like, I believe you. I trust you. So, it's just, he can do no wrong in my eyes. Regardless. Say, no wrong. So I got back to Atlanta and I said, all right, God, I want to do something purposeful this time around. So I went to apply for a bunch of nonprofit jobs, got rejection after rejection because I didn't have the experience. Only experience I had was just mentoring kids in college. And that just wasn't enough. And then a friend of mine, well, he's a friend of mine to this right now, but a guy, he took a chance on me at a nonprofit working in a boys group home. And that was my foot in the door. And I just killed it. I got in there, I learned everything I needed to learn. I got promoted to house supervisor, mentoring supervisor, and actually went to work for the state of Georgia for a while, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. I got burnt out. I got burnt out on that social work side of it. But the group home side, it was just only reason I just left the group home side because they had closed the group home down. If that group home was still, I'd probably still be there to this day. That's how much I love. Love just being in that space. I love being in that space with kids. And that was like it was just things that have to happen for a reason to kind of help you heal in the way that you need to heal. So had I not been fired from that job, I don't know what my life would look like right now had I not been fired.
Real talk.
So, like, you got to take the good with the bad, and the good that came with that bad was me being put in position to be imperfect.
God work in the most mysterious way.
Absolutely.
Yo, because it's like, man, we wouldn't be here right now. I mean, hopefully you.
For sure.
I mean, I don't know. I could
don't know.
interview somebody from the boys' home. You know what I mean? You might have read a dope book or something by now. You know?
Yeah, for sure. You know.
So, like, as a social worker now, do you have a private practice or do you work with a company now? Like, what are you doing with your degree?
So right now, I'm still in school right now, and I finished in September. So I work with a private practice.
Congratulations, man!
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Cannot wait.
Think of that bash.
So,
that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait. Because but yeah, I'm working a private practice right now as a supervisional therapist. So right now I can give therapy under her my director's supervision only. So I can't go out and go see other clients from other places. It has to be under her business. Like all the building has to go to her business. So I'm fine with that. And also have a coaching practice that I'm in the process of building right now. So launching a coaching program for individuals who are looking to overcome these sexual traumas in the next couple of months.
Beautiful.
So those are the things I'm doing now. And then once, of course, I graduate, I complete my 3,000 hours I have to complete, I will be a fully licensed therapist within it's about a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Your life is gonna look a lot different in a year, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yo, like, I mean, I know that, like, you being certified and everything is going to take off with your career for that, but also with your coaching business, I know that you have some all-stars in your corner as well. So definitely, but the business side is going to be fantastic. Do you look back now as you're in the chair of the therapist that talked to you? How do you look back and say, like, wow, like, man, this has gone full circle to where now I'm being a blessing on a totally deeper level, and somebody has reached out to me because they're ready?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. I don't think I even thought of that too. But now that you mention it, I can definitely say yes, it's a great feeling to be in that seat and to have someone who's come to me with the same type of situation and say, I've had one client who came through the same exact situation once upon a time. And it's like, I've helped him get through it and really help him understand who he was, because right now he's married right now, he has kids, and he's experienced the same thoughts I've experienced, the same feelings I experienced, the same depressive state of mind that I've experienced, and to help him from A to Z to where, like, he's boldly, like, sharing his story. He's boldly, he's feeling better about himself. He's very protective of his kids because he just doesn't want that same thing to happen to him and to his kids. So it's just, when you mentioned that, and now I'm thinking about a lot, like, I did have a few clients who I've helped get through that type of emotion. And the good thing is that my therapist, she always told me, keep on sharing, just keep sharing. And then in the practice that I work in now, I've gotten a few clients where she was like, I have the right, she's like, I got the right person. She'll tell the client, I got the right person for you. They'll see her first. Yeah. And then she'll call me and she'll, I got a new client for you. And she won't tell me why.
Right.
Like, okay. They're coming to me and I'm like, they're talking, but they're not telling me exactly what's going on. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I think I know what's going on.
Right.
And I'm listening. And then I like sharing, I like, giving people personal experience. So I tell them exactly, I completely get you. I understand it. This is gone through. And then that's what gets them to finally open up as to what's going on for them. That's why I tell people, you got to share your story, because somebody's waiting on you so they can be able to open up.
Real talk. I mean, like, we're all in this together, and like, there was a lady that came onto the podcast and said that we are in a world where we all want to fit in, but we're made not to fit in. So there's no way that we can't fit in, and there's no way that we can fit in.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, to get help, for you to be able to help that person, you're that person, bro. You're that consciousness. Like, you're that consciousness that the therapist had told you about initially. You know how there was a disbelief that you had. Somebody can't listen to your story and say, like, that's bullshit, because you're right there staring them in the face saying, I've already been through this.
Yep.
Yo, that's powerful, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, so, like, right?
Yeah. You got my gears going now.
It's deep, man. That's why you have me over here, like, almost in tears, because it's like that the magnitude of the blessing that you are because of you sharing your story, but also the great amount of compassion and empathy that you can have with someone and that someone can have with themselves, that acceptance that somebody can have with themselves because of talking to you and you guiding them through this experience, that is ineffable.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely,
man.
How did you put it that way? How did you put it that way?
Yo, one more thing. Have you forgiven the guy or the person? I don't know if it's a guy or girl. You forgiven that person that molested you?
So there's a story behind that too. So when I was a kid, I was raised in the church as a kid. If you haven't heard it, you got the story. But forgiveness is always pushed on us in the church. Like, you gotta forgive the person, you gotta forgive so and so for this, you gotta forgive. Yeah. And it was just like, my Christian beliefs, I believe at the time, forced me to forgive somebody I wasn't ready to forgive.
Yeah.
And I wrote a letter to the guy and was like, this would happen. This would happen afterwards. This is how I felt. And I forgive you for this. But I don't know if it was a sincere forgiveness because I still felt pain inside. I still felt hurt. I still had anger towards him because it's like, why did you have to do this to me? Right? You couldn't just go do something in the corner, go play yourself in the corner, or go play in traffic, or just do something besides do this to me. And I just don't know, like, truthfully, I don't know if at that moment, if it was true forgiveness. But as I've gotten older and a lot wiser and understanding that, you know what, Joevan, you got to do some forgiveness to yourself first. So I had to really forgive me first for, one, being so angry at myself, two, for being so gullible to believe that I had to forgive first, that I had to be the one to be the bigger person in the picture. Because a lot of times people, they say, well, you just need to be the bigger person. You just go apologize first. And I'm like, no, I don't need to. Like, if I don't feel like I don't need to do something, I'm not going to do it anymore, because as a kid, I was a gullible kid, and that's what got me into the predicament that I got in, because me being so gullible, just like, well, this is what this person says, so I must do it. And it's just over time, I walked around with a lot of unforgiveness in my heart towards that individual, because it's just, I was still trying to process it. I was still trying to process the fact of, you did this to me. I'm still trying to process the fact of, why am I questioning myself so much? I'm still trying to process the fact of, how do I live life after this, with this stain that I felt I lived with my life. And now that I'm a lot older now, a lot wiser, and I've gone through therapy, I can say, yes, I have forgiven the person. But there's still times where that anger kicks in. There's still times where I question it. Well, did you really forgive the person? Or have you really truly forgiven the person? So that's just where I am now. I'm in all full honesty and transparency. It's like, I don't know, truth be told. I really don't know if I forgive the person, because even after that, there were still just other like dramas going on behind it where, we just don't see eye to eye. We can't be in the same room with each other. I still have a lot of anger sometimes towards that person. This is the honesty. It's just the transparency, because I'm telling people right now, you're not going to always feel peachy crazy about everything. You're not going to feel all bubbly about everything. Even after you feel like you've gotten through something, there's still more of it to unpack. There's still more of it to kind of just release. And I know if I was to see the person, there wouldn't be any like hostility or anything like that. But, it's just, I just don't want to say, you know what, I'm not the guy right now to be in that same space with you right now, because I'm still like, unpacking it. I'm only 34. It's only been 4 years of unpacking a whole childhood life that I'm still unpacking. So like I tell people, like, every therapist has a therapist. It's just, we're not perfect beings. We're not individuals where our life is all good because we feel like we got all the answers. We don't. We still hurt. We still go through the traumas we have gone through. Like, a lot of therapists nowadays, they typically had gone through something. Like, a lot of therapists that I've reached out to or that I've met, there was something in their lives that's pretty much pushed them into the therapy where they want. Nobody really wakes up and says, I want to be a therapist when I grow up. I've never heard in my life that any kid said, I want to be a therapist when I grow up.
Nah.
Nobody. I feel like there's something inside of us that pushes us to our destiny and what we're called to be. And there's traumatic events in life that kind of help us get there.
100%.
And that forgiveness thing, it's a big thing. It's a very big thing, and it takes a lot to get to 100% forgive. I think right now I may be at 80% right now. So I'm getting to the 100% as I grow older and as I continue to do more unpacking, as I continue to work through this these conversations with my therapist.
Real talk, bro. Thank you so much for your honesty and transparency throughout the whole podcast, bro. Like, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Now, like on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and show you a technique that can help you cope. And that technique is the mental and emotional release process. It's a simple guided meditation, NLP process. By the way, I am not a social worker or a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor. I am an alternative to all of those amazing professions, and just help, and not just help, and I help with people's mindsets and consciousness as well. Now, for the people at home, one second, please. For the people at home, please, if you are ready to release anything that is on your mind that you've been holding on for any time, you can go ahead and reach out to me at charleswoolfork.com. And there is, in fact, a form on the front page. You can go ahead and schedule an appointment with me. You can go ahead and start releasing baggage today, just like the people here on the Drop Your Baggage podcast. Now, you talked a bit earlier about some of the shame that you had, and today we're here to release some shame. Now, could you go ahead and share what you're comfortable about with your experience with shame?
Yeah, so it's really for me, I guess it stems back to growing up with my parents, feeling shameful, like, just a response that they would give me to certain things. You know how people, when you tell your child, you say, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself for this. You should be ashamed of yourself for that.
Yeah.
And so that has been embedded into my brain, into my life. And then when, you hear conversations about a lifestyle, the homosexual lifestyle and the way people talk about it, how it's portrayed, you then feel that shame kicks into that part of my life. That's where that's the hurdle me and my therapist are at right now, where the shame portion is trying to get over that shame of people saying, oh, well, just looking at you different. But I've got to myself to a point now where it's like, you know what, you can look at me how you want to.
Right.
But like I said, there's always going to be something in the back of your head that's going to be there. That's where I'm at now, where there's still a little piece of it that's still in the back of my head that's like, you should be ashamed. But it's like, why should I be ashamed? Like, this is my life. This is what I experienced. I'm fully transparent about it. You ask me, I tell people I'm open book. You ask me any question that you want to ask me, I'm going to answer it. I'm going to always, free and willfully always just share everything that I've experienced in life. But if you ask me, I'll tell it. Yeah. So that's just been helping me get over my shame in a sense.
How do you feel as though the shame is a hindrance upon your upcoming coaching business, or you as a social worker becoming a therapist?
I think that's a great question, man. I love that question. I think that shame could hinder me because there's still a portion of me that hasn't been unlocked. I feel like there's still maybe a portion of me that I'm still keeping me closed behind closed doors, behind locked doors, however you say that saying. Yeah. But that's where I'm feeling that's where the hindrance may be, is that behind closed doors, there's still one piece of the skeleton that you just haven't pulled out. And I feel like there isn't, because like I said, I'm very transparent. If you ask me, I'll tell you, but maybe because I haven't willingly told that part of it. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something where I learned from my ex-wife, in fact, that the more that you heal yourself, the more you can help others heal themselves as well.
For sure.
So it's like all of those bits and pieces, whether it be, your relationship with your parents, or your relationship with God, or your relationship with partners, or, your relationship with self, any part that where you really haven't fully resolved that, there's a piece of it to where you can't help others you can't help others heal themselves or help others optimally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I believe, like, I just think my shame really just comes with each and every new individual I meet. The older individuals like that who know me, it's like I'm cool and comfortable with them. But it's just when you introduce yourself to a new person, or you get introduced to a new thing of a new way of life, it's like, oh, that's that thing that's in the back of my head.
It's like somebody that doesn't necessarily know you and may have some preconceived judgments because of that one thing that they're gonna hear.
Yep. That's spot on. Spot on.
Thank you. Let's connect it to mind-body connection. When you think about that shame, where can you feel it in your body?
My gut.
Your gut. Yeah, like under or like over the top of the bottom?
Over, like right on top of the belly button.
Yeah, like right.
Yeah.
For sure. And on an intensity of between 1 and 10, what would you put it at?
Let's say 6.
Perfect. That's what everybody says, around 6, 7. Quite honestly, it's like the average right there.
Yeah.
All right, man. Perfect. Okay, so with this guided meditation, all you got to do are 3 things in order for this to be a profound experience. Number 1, you got to use your imagination.
Okay.
Number two, you got to follow directions just like you follow a good recipe or Google Maps.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, you got to trust the process. Know that I'm your guide and I'll be leading you through this easily and effortlessly. And I come from a place of love and high vibration.
Yep.
Awesome. Yep. And also, it's quite important for you to make sure that you see from everybody's perspective in every event that we cover. So I'll lead you through that as well. We're going to go ahead and create an imaginary timeline. Now, with this imaginary timeline, your past can be to your left, to your right, or behind you. If you were to know, where's your past?
Behind me and to the left of me?
Yes, of course you can.
I feel like it's in between that space.
Okay. So
like a 90-degree situation. Yeah.
Cool. Where's your future?
My future's right ahead of me.
Perfect.
Actually, I feel like sometimes it's right dead in my face.
I don't know what that means, but as long as it's not behind you, then that's all that matters.
No, absolutely not.
Yes, indeed. All right, cool. So let's get into it. Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to release this shame today and for you to be aware of the concept?
Absolutely.
Awesome. What is the root cause of this problem? The first event, which when disconnected, that will cause this problem to disappear. If you were to know, when was the first time that you felt shame between the ages of birth and 7? How old were you? So the differentiation between guilt and shame. Guilt is I did something bad. Shame is I'm bad because I did something. So shame could be come from, like I'm a bad person or I'm this, that, and the other. Or that time that your parents said shame on you for the first time. Where did you go to school when you were in 3rd grade?
Danforth.
And you remember what house you lived in when you were 3rd?
I feel like I was on Parkside at the time.
Think about that time. Take your time. Let the thought come to you. Think about in that house in the 3rd grade with your brothers and sisters or your friends. You ever feel shame?
There was a time where I walked in and my parents having intercourse. All right. And their response to it was like, don't come into our room if our doors are closed. But it was like in the tone, it was a tone in which it was expressed, like, very like angrily tone. And I feel like that's when the first time I might have experienced it. Yeah.
Boom. All right. Good stuff. Glad that we could locate that one. It's always a process. Cool. All right. So we can start with that one. So let's get it. With this being a guided meditation, you can go ahead and close your eyes and relax and let me know when you're ready for the process to drop your bag.
Do it.
All right. Now, just imagine floating outside of your body as if though you were a spirit or energy. Just imagine seeing yourself from a 3rd person point of view, like a fly on the wall. See the whiteboard behind you and the couch that you're sitting on, the computer in front of you, your colorful shirt and your beard. Let me know when you can see yourself from a 3rd person point of view. Okay. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float behind yourself into the left, into the path, and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the path above that first event in which you felt shame when you're a little kid. And just hover above that event. Sing that event like a fly on the wall. Let me know when you're there. Okay. Now, just hover right there above the event. Stay right there. Don't move. And just ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from the event. The learning of which will allow you to let go of the emotions easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learning so that if you need them in the future, they'll be there. Just tell your unconscious mind to preserve the learning. This is an exercise of forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness for yourself and others, and acceptance of yourself and others. Who do you have to forgive? What do you have to accept? Who do you have to accept? Be sure to see the perspective from your point of view, but also from the point of view of others as well. Everyone in the event. And focus your attention upon how hurt people hurt people. We're all doing the best that we can with the resources and consciousness that we have. We can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser and learn from other people's actions and mistakes. Other people's actions have nothing to do with you. It's only a reflection of their baggage and whatever they're going through at the time. And we're better people than we were when those events occurred. You're a better person than you were when those events occurred. What is something positive and empowering you can tell yourself as a little boy and your mom and your dad and everyone else involved in the event? But the consciousness that you have today that would allow the emotions to evaporate like water on the concrete on a hot summer day. And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. So let me know when they're all gone. Awesome. Now, with you above the event, observing the event, and your eyes closed, keep your eyes closed, and tell me, what did you learn from the event?
For some reason, the line, that wasn't your fault, kept ringing to my head.
That's right.
And that life goes on. Peace will always reside within you, and love will always be there.
Amen. Amen. Now, what is something positive and empowering you can take with you from the event into the future to make you a better person?
You are better than what you've gone through.
That's right. Anything else?
And you don't have any reason to be ashamed of what you've gone through.
That's right. Awesome. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past, above the dinosaurs during the prehistoric age, and then float into space where space and the atmosphere connects. Let me know when you're there.
There.
All right, Joevan. Now, just imagine floating very, very high above your timeline, above each and every event in which you felt shame from birth until now in chronological order. Don't skip one event that has a charge on it. preserve the learnings and let go of all the shame all the way back to now. This time around, you're going to see from other people's perspectives. And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. So let me know when they're all gone.
They're all gone.
Awesome. Now, flow down into your body and open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back.
Man, this is so dope. I'm so serious, man. This is like so dope. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, it's working.
Oh my gosh, you feel good, huh?
I feel so amazing right now. Like I feel like how I feel after every week after therapy.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is dope.
This modality, I call it years of therapy, years of personal development, and having multiple breakthroughs within minutes. You did a lot of work just now, homie.
I feel so good right now. I just feel like I can go outside and go do some backflips and cartwheels. Well, I just feel like, you know how you have that person that in your head that you wish you could just be 24/7. Yeah, I feel like that person right now. Like,
yes,
like that's where I feel right now.
That's awesome, bro. Yes,
yeah, like it's even like I don't know. There's like a lot of emotions going on right now, but it's like a good emotion. Like, you know, like I feel like I finally really let it go. Like, you know, I feel like I've let a lot of stuff go, but for some reason, like this piece, like I said, that shame hurt. It's been like kind of like just hovering over me. And I feel like I finally like let it go, and I feel just so much better right now.
Now, what is the consciousness that you had or the retrospect that you had that helped you let things go now?
There's nothing to be ashamed of. Like literally, there's nothing that you should be ashamed of. There's nothing new under the sun. This is your life. This is your body. This is your mind. This is your heart. This is your soul. Like, take ownership of it. This is your life. Like, Joevan, like, you're amazing. You're a superhero, man. You're an overcomer. You're a survivor. Like, you just kept telling me that survivor. Like, it felt like I was getting bigger in muscle and mass, not like, you know, just like you kept saying, you know, it's reminded me back to my cousin. She tells me all the time, you're a survivor, Joevan, you're a survivor. And it reminded me of those conversations that she and I had, because she was a victim of sexual assault as well. And we share our stories with each other, and she just reminds you, like, you're a survivor. And it took me back to that moment, but for some reason it just feels so much more believable, and it feels so much more real.
Because you're seeing it, you know. It's like for me personally, as I'm pouring that energy into those moments, it's taking the like, you are, look at what you've gone through, and you're here and you're stronger than ever. Like, yo, that's empowering as hell. Yo, that's so crazy, man. Like, so let's go ahead and test it out. I'll ask you a question. Do you smell biscuit?
No.
Okay. I asked that to get your mind off the meditation, change your state. Okay. Now I gotta ask you, can you remember a time in the past in which you used to feel that old emotion? And go back and notice if you can feel it, or you may find that you cannot.
I can see it, but I don't feel it. No.
Yeah. It's like you remember it's there.
Yeah, it's there, but it's like I don't feel that emotion. Like, it's just like, yeah, that's like when you told me to go back, I just looked at it and I was like, all right.
Yeah, next. And then what? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, let's move on.
Yeah,
just keep going.
Yeah. Awesome. Now let's do the other way now. I want you to imagine going out into the future, to an unspecified time in the future, in which if the same thing would have happened in the past, you would have felt shame. But it's the future now. So see if you can find that old emotion, or you may find that you cannot.
I'm there.
What would you do instead?
I keep talking. For some reason, when you were saying that, I saw myself on the stage sharing it.
Yeah.
I just like telling people, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. This came like right on time.
Yeah.
Your divine appointment.
As soon as you're like, as you're giving it to me, it's like, it's right there. It's like, you know how sometimes you got to think about things. As you're talking to me, it's the response is just sitting right there, ready to give, like, throw it right back at you. Like, I feel good right now. I feel great. I feel amazing.
Congratulations, you are officially a baggage dropper.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I was so nervous for you, bro. I'm not gonna lie, because you had to switch to the venue and go to another place, and I didn't know if like it broke rapport or like anything. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I was ready for this moment.
Yes.
I was ready for this moment. And like I said, it's a divine appointment, and it's like I'm ready for everything that comes my way nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's where I've been putting myself in the mindset of just be ready. Just be ready. And this moment for sure, I've been waiting for my entire life. Seriously. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life, because it's been a rodeo. for real. And it's been hard to get over. It's been hard to deal with. And there's so much, like these tears that's about to fall, like they're tears of excitement and joy. And there's also tears of releasing that I haven't done in years. And my life is forever changed by this moment. And it feels really good, man. I really appreciate you, man, for real. I thank you, Charles, for real.
It's definitely,
I really thank you.
It's a pleasure, dog. It's like, thank you too for like showing up for your divine appointment. I didn't know, I was so proud of you when you were answering the emails. I'm like, he's gonna show up. He's gonna show up. He's gonna show up. Hey, bro, for all you guys out there, Jada still, shout out to Jada for helping him. You know what I mean? She gave me his email and he didn't answer like days. I'm like, oh, well, he's a busy man. He might not answer. He finally answered. And then like we just corresponded like back and forth. We finally showed up, man. And now we're here. So, bruh, you did, like, no matter what, bruh, there was so many obstacles, but you were right here. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. So like, all right. So a lot of people out there have not just experienced what you've experienced, bruh. Like, can you put into words like everything that's going on in your mind and like just everything that just happened to you with this releasing?
I feel like I have arrived. I feel like this moment was meant to be at this specific time, like on this day, at this moment, at this time, it was meant to be. And I had to prepare myself for this moment. But there's also like I couldn't prepare myself for what we just experienced. But for this moment I had to prepare myself and to really just stop being so afraid of going deeper and stop being afraid of what people may think about me and stop being afraid of just not being what I'm called to be. It's just I want to be that person, but at the same time I've always been that shame is always still in the back of my head, like what if, what are they gonna say? So now that that's gone, this release, it's like I'm ready to take on the world for real.
Oh man, that is so excellent, bro. I think my audio is okay, but my video's stuck. But as long as you can hear me, you're good.
Yeah, yes,
okay.
Sir, I can hear you.
Obviously, that feeling in your stomach is gone.
Yeah,
totally gone. So, what's the biggest revelations? I mean, you've told us so many things, but what's that one thing that's going to keep you feeling this way?
Just remembering this moment. I think this is a moment that I'm not going to forget. And even if anything creeps back up on me, I feel like this moment is going to show up like Superman and just defeat any type of shame that may try to creep up on me. Like, I'll never forget this day and moment, just the joy I feel inside, the releasing of it. And I feel like the releasing is still coming. Like there's still more I got to release. And each breath that I take and through meditation is like it's gonna push it out. Right? It's just, but I feel so great now. I'm like super emotional right now, but outside of that, this is just like this is where I need to be.
Yeah,
this is where I need to be.
Yeah. Oh, and everybody out there, excuse me for the background music. He's in an event space, so they something else had to happen, but we're still making it happen. So like Joevan, I just, bro, like honestly, where do you see yourself going now that this shame is gone?
Far. Super far in life. I see myself going, like I said, for some reason, I just saw myself on the stage for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why I saw myself there, but I saw myself on the stage talking to I don't know who I was talking to. I couldn't see because it was dark where I was looking into.
Yeah.
But I just saw myself on a stage, and I guess that's where I'm going. Going to stages now.
Yeah, it's already been
how to look at it. Yeah, for sure.
Man, just congratulations again, dog. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One more thing. Did you know that it could feel this way?
Nope.
Yeah.
You know what it feel like?
Yeah. Like just to like have it. Oh, the forgiveness piece. So who did you forgive within that exercise?
I forgave myself first. Because a lot of times I put everyone else's feelings above me. And I had to forgive myself first for doing that. And I had to forgive myself for allowing shame to have rule over me and defeat over me. So I was like, for some reason, I just kept with myself first, and then I forgave my parents. And I was seeing some other individuals. I was trying to pull the face together, but I just couldn't pull the face together. But it was like there was just like a lot of round of forgiveness going around because, like, I haven't been my best self towards my parents, or haven't been my best self towards a lot of people because of the experiences that I've had an experience in life as of like, previously and as of recently. So there's a lot of forgiveness that had to happen for sure.
Describe the self-love that you have.
True, man. Like that right there. That love itself is I love myself so much deeper. I love myself so much stronger. And it's just there's nothing that can stop me at this moment from loving myself even deeper.
Amen. Yo, bruh, with everything, man, thank you so much again for showing up for your divine appointment. and please give the people one more word of advice before we go ahead and tie this up in a bow.
Absolutely. If you were like me, who's been holding on to shame for 34 years and you just can't let it go, I would encourage you can get on Charles' calendar to get on his calendar and go through this, go through this experience and let these emotions go, because there's nothing to be ashamed of in life. You're not the only person going through what you've gone through. You're not the only person. There's nothing new under the sun. It's an unfortunate thing that life hasn't happened the way it does, and life occurrences happen in the way that they do. But you're a survivor. You're a warrior. You're a prince. You're a queen. You're a king. Whichever role you see yourself in, own it.
Mm-hmm.
Own your flaws. Own the things that you don't like about yourself. Own the way that you don't love yourself, and find a way to love yourself, and find a way to release the hurt, the guilt, the shame, the defeat. And once you do that, I promise you, like this light feeling that I feel right now, like I said, I'm a 299-pound guy. And I feel like I'm a feather right now. So it's like you can feel this too, but you got to take the first step, and don't be afraid to take that first step.
Amen. Thank you so much, bro. Thank
you
so much. And I'm gonna talk to the audience. Thank you guys so much for your attention and your support. I love you guys so much with all my heart. If you are listening to this podcast, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. And also, if you're on a podcast platform, give a brother 5 stars and some feedback as well. Oh, Joevan, where can we?
Yes.
Hey, you got your podcast. Everything's always popping. Let's hear where we can see you, bro.
Yeah. You can definitely see me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active at. It's Joevan J Palmer. So for those who are listening, it's JoevanPalmer. That's where I'm at. Pretty much you find me on all social media platforms. But if you want to see me most active and giving out motivation, inspiration, Instagram is where it's at. Mm-hmm. Also, you can find me on YouTube, Living Blessed the Podcast with Joevan J Palmer, where we share transparent and vulnerable moments that we've all experienced in life. So if you want to, I'm on episode 25. So go back to episode number 1 where I share my life story. So I started off with me first. I feel like, you can't dig into somebody else's life without digging into yours first. And then from there, I've just been finding other individuals, or other individuals been finding me saying, hey, I'm ready to share my story.
Wow. I'm
willing to use my platform to allow people to release their guilt, their shame, their defeat, and to help somebody else.
Amen. Yo. Hey, go check him out, Joe.
Yeah, for sure. Or they can also text me too. So you can text me at 404-476-6780. And I send out daily text messages of healing and affirmations as well.
This guy's freaking phenomenal, man. Golly, I need to get on my grind, yo. Good stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, y'all. Hey, and right here on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and show you a technique that can help you cope. I am Charles, just the self-talk engineer. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself and take care of one another. Peace.